Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Byrd Brains. You're hearing a new voice, and that voice is mine. I'm Jon Colby. You're asking, who are you, Jon Colby? And I'm saying to you, don't worry about it, listener. Okay? Just sit down and listen. That's your job. We can't hear you. Why are you talking anyway? Hey, I'm not by myself. If I was by myself, that'd be really sad. I'm joined by the Byrds. On my right, I have Jonathan Byrd, and on my far left, I have David Byrd. And right next to me on the left, I have Bryan Clawson. And then across from me, I have Joanna. Joanna doesn't have a microphone, but I assure you she's doing a lot of amazing pantomime work right now. They call her JoJo, and I don't know why. Oh, but no, hold on. Now the dance moves are coming out, and I get why. Hey, guys, first of all, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Great to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you. I need to know, what do I need to know about this stuff? Like, Bryan already says we go over, so whatever the time is, we're going to talk longer than that.
Absolutely.
What else do I need to know?
Well, we have a lot of fun. We talk about fried chicken and racing, and that's about it.
I've already
early 80s cartoons.
Yeah,
has been a heavy topic of conversation.
Okay, I've already had fried chicken, and it was delicious, and Captain Caveman. Am I free to go? Is that it? Oh, racing. Talk about that. Hold on, we were just talking off air before we got started. I just drove in stupid traffic to get to beautiful Franklin, Indiana.
Gorgeous.
It's nice right now, isn't it? Look out that window. I can see the reflection of corn. And you guys don't know what that means, but we'll leave it a mystery. But, Bryan, you were saying you don't like driving at all?
No, I hate driving. It's if I didn't have to drive on the roads, if I had somebody that could chauffeur me around, I'd always have it.
Is it mostly because the roads are not dirt roads anymore these days? It's all pavement.
No.
Yeah, it's because there's a roof over your head, or whatever, and you're enclosed.
People get
Exactly.
pissed when you throw slide jobs. Is the
Yeah,
problem?
they're not that excited about it. No,
Slide job around 465.
I just don't have the patience. I just don't have as much patience for it. And,
Okay.
I'm not so bad. During my normal time zone when I get home before rush hour and leave well after rush hour.
Yeah.
It's not so bad, but when David and Jonathan make me drive down here to do some podcasts, we're gonna get a lot of
words
traffic.
happen. A lot of words.
We pay you into favorite BC meal though.
Yeah, it was very good.
So,
Chicken noodles, mac and cheese, corn.
Man, that
Carrots.
mac and cheese. That
Oh,
mac
yeah,
and cheese was
carrots.
fantastic.
Carrots.
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Byrd's Cafeteria, mac and cheese. Get it.
Absolutely. I've long said they're more famous for a lot of other things, but their mac and cheese is the one thing on the menu that is bar none better than anything else.
Yeah, I had never had it. I had literally never had it until just now, and it was fantastic. Hold on, I have a follow-up question. So do you yell, like when you're alone in your car? When you're driving, do you yell at other cars? And I mean this both on the road and on the track. Do you yell at other cars? Like,
definitely not on the racetrack. I don't yell at them very often anyway. Sometimes, I guess, if I have a radio, I might be able to, where I can talk to somebody. I can voice my displeasure. But when I'm in there alone, I don't talk to myself. And
you don't? Really? At all?
And I have been known to yell at some people on the road. I just... but nobody can hear me, so it doesn't really matter.
But I'm surprised by that, because other guys, right, just normal drivers, do you yell at other cars when you're by yourself?
Of course.
Of course. I mean,
Isn't that required?
If you prick me, do not bleed.
Exactly.
If you cut me off, do I not yell a bad word? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. So on any level, like whether you're like in sprints or all the way up to IndyCar, you never just like want to yell at the other cars?
I mean, you probably want to, but it's it's more of a focus thing. I think you take your mind off the task at hand, and,
I guess that's true.
And bad things happen.
I know when I was 15, I did driver's ed, and it was like a 6-week course, and I think 3 days was devoted to yelling at other drivers. That was part of the training.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna start with the 3-letter words, guys. We're gonna bump up until we cover them all.
It was
that was back when you had to check the wooden spokes. Though,
exactly.
It
was a full day on gestures.
Yeah.
So I mean, I had it all covered very early on in my training.
Oh, that's
riding
funny.
the horse and buggy.
Oh,
Turn left.
Yeah,
Turn
right.
right.
It was a while ago.
Right? Nay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking about high school and stuff like that. I had a question just because I don't know everybody in here really well. 15 years old is typically when you start getting your first jobs.
Well,
that was late.
If your last name's not Bird.
Yeah, that was
then you're like
that would have been
7.
4 years after my first job.
Okay, so all right. Bryan, what was your first job?
I've only had one job in my life, and that's driving race cars.
Really?
Yeah.
When did you start?
Well, I started driving when I was 5, but I started it professionally when I was 16.
Wow.
So luckily I've been able to.
He has a thin resume, is what he's saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's literally one strip of paper. Not a piece of it, just a strip.
Yeah,
like a
absolutely.
race car driver. I'm like,
Exactly.
all right, well, thanks so much for your time.
Minor details.
So nobody else worked at Burger King?
No.
Or Taco Bell?
We, us, my brother and I, we've been in the family business since, birth. When it comes right down to it.
That's it.
My first
38
words
years
were
in.
fried chicken, I guess. I don't really know.
So who's older between you two?
I am the oldest.
By how much?
14 months.
Okay.
Is that called Irish twins or something?
No,
It's got to be within the year.
That's
doesn't
within
it?
the year.
Oh, it's
Irish
within a
twin.
year?
Yeah.
I thought it was
Or-
within 15 months.
Or if you're both alcoholics. That's also.
Well,
Right, exactly.
we do have a little German and Irish in us, so we want to take over the world, but we're too drunk to do it.
Well, thank God. Thank God. Just keep making mac and cheese, whatever you do to the world.
Well, what about you, Jon Colby? How the heck did you come here? How did you get involved with this silly podcast?
Court order.
I'm being. I was just saying, it's community service. I have to do this, and then I wear this orange jumpsuit and clean the interstates for a little while. Really, no. I do Comedy Sportz here in Indianapolis. Comedy Sportz is family friendly, or comedy is fun for all ages. What do we say? We say something. You can go.
Comedy Sportz is for everyone.
For everybody. But the problem is when you say you're like family friendly, people are like, oh, it's for kids. It's not going to be any good. But it's fun for adults too. I've done Comedy Sportz for years and years and years in Indianapolis and Chicago. But we have a new sponsor over the last year. I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
No.
Do tell.
There is a team called Jonathan Byrd Racing, and they sponsor an Indy 500. I'm not going to get into these details. If you want to know more about those things, you can ask me later. But Jonathan Byrd's Racing has partnered up with Comedy Sportz.
Yeah.
And so through that, I have seen the Byrd family on many occasions at Comedy Sportz cheering for us. And then I had the opportunity to go to the 500, Indy 500, and cheer for Bryan. So we become friends that way. There's been one short dip in our relationship where Jonathan Byrd's son, I don't want to actually say his first name because I want to protect the innocent, but had his birthday party. And after the match, all the kids came up on stage to take a group picture. And I'm on my knees behind them, smiling, and we're all smiling. We take the picture. And then I'm just going to step off from my knees onto the stage. It's like 2.5, 3 foot drop or whatever.
Right.
And one of his stupid friends bumps me on accident or maybe on purpose. I don't know if there was malintent, but he bumps me and I fall. It was in May, and I'm showing. You guys can't see this listening, but look, I have a scar. I have a scar. This is embarrassing. I have a scar.
Well, it was meant to be.
Let's get it on. Let's get it on camera here.
Wait, how old are you? First of all, he struggled to know. Secondly, he said he's 10 years old. And at 10 years old, one of his little hooligan friends gave me a lifelong scar. So
That's how it starts. You hang out with the wrong people, and it leads all downhill to a life of crime.
So I threatened to sue Jonathan Byrd, and he said, hey, maybe we can give you some fried chicken. I'm like, all right. But then apparently he gave me so much fried chicken. He's like, hey, now you owe me again. And now I'm stuck doing bird brains for a while.
It's the way of the world, right there.
It's the circle of life.
You know,
I've got a similar story.
Well, Mr. Clauson has appeared on the Comedy Sportz stage as well.
Oh, yeah?
He has.
God, I forget my line already.
Waiter, there's...
He did
something.
100
Oh, hey, wait, there's a blank in my soup.
Yeah, there's a blank in my soup. Yep.
Didn't go well?
I think
I think I didn't really mess the line up.
No.
I just had to remember one.
I was nervous. I thought you were like, I can't remember the line. I'm like, wait, now or then?
No, I got
line,
it.
man.
I got it.
He had Cameron
nailed
Diaz.
Yeah, there was Cameron Diaz in my soup. There's a couple.
Your eyebrows jumped up pretty high when you said Cameron Diaz. I'm just saying. All right. No comment.
So you were in Chicago.
Yeah.
Doing Comedy Sportz, and also the Conservatory for Second. Is that
Oh,
Second
yeah,
City, right?
Second City. Yeah, I am a public educator. I teach high school theater. I'm living the dream. But I did that for a few years. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go be famous. So I moved to Chicago, and I auditioned for the Second City Conservatory, and I got in. And I was performing with Comedy Sportz up there, and I'm like, I'm a big deal. and then I realized how poor you are doing improv comedy for a living. So I crawled back to Indianapolis, and they accepted me. But I made a bucket list item I'm like, what do I do that can be cool in improv but still live in Indy? And so I'm touring around. I'm going to every Comedy Sportz at some point. So there's 23 in America, and I've been to 21 of the 23. Cool. So I need to go to Provo, Utah, and New Orleans are the only two I have left in America. And then there are 2 in Europe, in Germany and in Manchester, England. So I'm going to go to those 2. And then once I've done all those, I'll probably kill myself because I have no life goals left after that.
Well, hosting a podcast was clearly on your bucket list.
Oh, yeah. I've been on podcasts before, but I've never hosted one. So now that's off. Thanks for reminding me, David. I'm like, oh, thank God there's one thing left.
Death is near.
That was it, yep. Oh, man. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure this was talked about in one of the podcasts and stuff like that. How did you guys get started with this? Like, where was the idea just to start this?
The podcast?
Yeah.
Where was the idea? Was it your idea? John, was it your idea?
I'm not taking credit for this.
Yeah, I really want to know whose idea this was.
Like, I had to drive here.
Yeah. I'm really curious.
I actually think I think we came up with it around a lunch table at Jonathan Byrd's one day with our previous host of the podcast. And
We offed him.
I was just saying, did he kill himself? He's like, well,
yeah, we won't talk about that. And we just talked about ways we could maximize a relationship with this wonderful radio station that's one of our sponsors, Corn Country 100.3, and the Rising Radio Partners radio stations, and figured let's do something fun, something long form, because we started coming down and doing. Bryan would do appearances on the morning show. Oh, cool. That's maybe 2 or 3 minutes in between songs and the news and the traffic and the weather, and it was always the same, which never changes. And then a song and then talk for 2 minutes, and it really wasn't enough time to get to know BC.
Yeah.
So we thought let's amp this up a little bit, and we could do a podcast. And we have all this wonderful equipment and a studio and access to all these things and engineers like JoJo over here, and said, here we are.
Awesome.
When your resume's this thin, it doesn't take very long to get to know me.
Yeah, you're like, I'm a race car driver. You can see it on my strip of paper.
Yeah, it's right here.
So I have a question. You came on the radio and did stuff here. I saw you on race day, like doing an interview and talking to somebody, whatever. Highs and lows of doing interviews. What do you like about them? What do you not like about them?
I don't know that there's anything I really don't like about them. I guess it's. I mean, obviously, it's just been kind of part of the job forever. So it's if you get to a high level of racing, that's just something that comes along with it. It's not like it's a surprise. Oh, hey, you got to go do an interview. So you learn to be pretty malleable and just kind of conform to whatever.
Malleable. That's a
big
good
word.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, spell that out.
That's right.
Is there a bell for that? That's a scoring word right
Can
there.
we do that from now on? If anybody uses a big word,
Yeah.
Jamie rings the bell.
I will ring the bell.
I love it.
And conform to whatever they throw at you, and interviews are probably the easy part, really.
Have you gotten any weird questions or like questions that frustrated you?
I'm
Like,
sure I've had some weird ones. We are 8. This is what, 9?
9.
We are 9 deep. I only appeared on this is the 9th one. So there's been some weird questions.
Is that a challenge? Am I supposed to try
right here on
beat
Bird
that?
Brains? I'm pretty sure too.
Well, it's
So-
probably the most uncomfortable questions you've had. That's funny.
Yeah, because on here I got to stall for 30 minutes. And if it's on the radio, I only got to go 1 or 2.
One or two.
Yeah, like, well, we'll
Hey,
talk
can you
around
shut
it.
him up? We got to go to commercial break. And you're like, we don't have commercials. That's funny. Well, then let me interview you for real. Like, what's been going on? What's going on with your career right now?
Just been busy racing. It's we've talked about it a lot in the past, but I race a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
I think the race I ran this weekend on Saturday or Friday night, whatever night it was, I lose track.
Do you know what day it is right now?
No,
It ends in
Probably-
Y.
yeah.
I know that.
Ends in Y. It's got a D in it.
He's right. He knows what day.
When you've hit your head as much as I have, you learn to kind of shortcut them like that. Now I'm kicking stuff. So the race on Friday was my 101st, I believe, of the year, which is pretty cool. Raced 101 times. That's only half of what we're going to be doing next year. But
can we talk about that? I've heard about that. Is that jumping ahead? Am I not
No,
that's all right. That's all right.
We jump around.
Okay,
There's nothing.
this blows my mind. Explain what your plan is for next year.
Well, for those on Periscope, anyway, see, we're holding this paper that kind of has what we should talk about. This is usually what happens in the middle of the show.
Right? Yeah.
Nothing. 80s cartoons. Except for I was only alive for a year. So we're going to have to go like
yeah. Were you really?
But yeah, 200 races. Kind of a crazy idea that I kind of came up with.
Is this your bucket list and you can kill yourself?
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Good luck, man. I hope you kill yourself next year.
Not sure if I'm going to get through it first. I might kill myself halfway through. No, it was kind of it really started as a little bit of a separate idea of, I've always wanted to just kind of load up a bunch of different race cars in a trailer and kind of travel the country.
Yeah.
And when we kind of looked at that, we figured out pretty quick that it wasn't really practical. And there probably wasn't enough people as dumb as I am that would want to do it and live out of a hauler and motorhome for a year like we were talking about. So we had to go about structuring it a little bit of a different way. But so that's where we came up with the Chasing 200 Tour, Circular Insanity, because like I said, I'm not sure that anybody else is dumb enough to try it. But
now explain, it's not all just one type of car, too. How many
different?
No,
there's I guess how many different, kind of to be determined, but there'll be at least 5 different, I think. At
7
least.
teams.
Yeah,
involved.
we got 7. Apparently,
So
we got 7 teams.
And it's all sorted around the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah,
Silver Crown, sprint cars, winged and unwinged, and pavement.
And 410 and 360.
410 and 360 sprints.
Wing sprint
we got all
cars.
kinds of different
360 non-wing sprint cars, midgets, pavement wing sprint cars,
and then he's going to run a junker demolition derby after that.
Oh, you really?
and flag
Is that the one?
I'm waiting for the schedule. No, so and it really, never 200 has obviously become the kind of the buzzword around this whole thing, but it really didn't start as I think we can run 200 races or this or that. It was, I wanted to be it. I just wanted to go race every race possible.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't matter logistically possible. Obviously, there's times that there might be a race on Friday in Ohio and one Saturday in California. Obviously, that's not really logistically, but Friday and Saturday are bad examples because there'd be a lot of races close to Ohio. But Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever day you want.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different races out there, but feasibly, how many races you could do in 1 year, and we kind of put pen to paper. My girlfriend Lauren, who's sitting behind us, she
constantly rolling her eyes.
Gave you the dirty look when you said Cameron Diaz.
Yeah,
and your eyebrows raised.
I can't see her, but so we kind of put pen to paper over. We kind of did the last 2 years of schedules and what they'd look like, and we came up to really close to 200 on 1 year and right at on another. So that's where the name kind of comes from, and like I said, it's more about being at as many premier events throughout the country. If it's a big short track race in America, we want to be there and have a presence.
That's awesome. We need to get a hold of like Guinness Book and be like, hey, has anybody ever done this?
We don't know for sure what the most anybody ever has attempted, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a shot at it here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I would find it hard to imagine anybody's ever done anywhere close to that. I mean, Bryan's normal schedule is usually about 125, 130 races a year. It really depends on rain.
Yeah.
This year I think you're gonna get about 120.
Yeah, it'll be pretty close to 120.
Once it all shakes out, and you probably get 20 rainouts this year.
We'll probably be one what?
124.
Is that? But that's on the schedule, not completed.
Yeah. So, and that's probably with 20 rainouts that took place. So had he not been rained out, we could have been close to 150. So it's not completely undoable, but it's really just a matter of pulling together enough pieces, and having enough willing partners to take their component of it, and then having a driver who's willing to do it, and is honestly who's worth investing in to do it as well.
Totally.
Still looking for that guy.
Right. And in the meantime,
we're taking resumes. Must be longer than one trip.
That's so funny. Now here's my question: like, JB told me about this the other day, and I was like, man, what if he gets to 199 and like the last one's a rain out or whatever? Are you going to go find some like water like bumper boats or whatever? Like that counts. We raced.
We're going to Fast Times Karting Center.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see where it plays out. Obviously, like I said, really the 200 races isn't. That's
We're
not
chasing
the.
200.
It's not the
That's
number.
That's not the drop dead.
It's
Obviously
the chasing 200.
we're gonna do whatever we can to get there because I think 200 is a astronomical number. It's something unheard of. It's really when you say 200 races, people are like, "What?"
Right.
And that's kind of
every time,
right?
That's kind of what we're shooting for, and is having that kind of wow factor to go along with it. But yeah, obviously, we want it to be legit. I think Lauren and I were looking at it. We figured if we could do 183, that would be cool enough because that's racing every other day of the year.
Cool.
And that's kind of a cool stat too. So obviously 200 is the end all goal, and there's a lot of different ways to get there. And with the partners we have and having the way it's structured, we can kind of dodge weather. Or have the opportunity to dodge weather. Sometimes you just can't, but where we have 3 or 4 different options on a given weekend, and you kind of pull up the map and go, well, do we go here, here, here? And, so that some of that's built in to kind of avoid that. So it'll be obviously it's something that's never been attempted, and so that I'm sure there'll be some things that as we're working through, we'll stumble upon and go, we didn't really think about that.
What's been the feedback response from people as, I mean, we are just in a little bubble here, but when you go across the country, what are people saying to you about this 200? People in racing that just like, what the heck?
That's pretty much it. What the heck? How? The big question is how. How are you going to be able to do it? You look at, like we just talked about, I running 120 races this year, and people look at it and feel like I've raced. I mean, I do race January to December,
right?
But it's a lot about there's times where you can double up on certain events where you run 2 cars in the same night, different programs, but same track.
Do you ever do days where you do one somewhere and somewhere else the same day?
Yeah, there's a couple opportunities to do a race in the morning and a race in the evening.
Yeah,
we've done that before with the Silver Crown car at Springfield and the midget. I think it bounces back and forth between Macon and Lincoln, but they usually have that kind of scheduled. So there's some opportunities. I can rattle off. I think Lauren just said we were at 125, and I can rattle off 30 events that we didn't show up at this year. So along with doubling up at some races and things like that.
May you didn't race anything at all except for Indy.
Yeah,
right.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah,
I've heard that one.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think obviously there's still going to be, and not necessarily from you guys, but obviously there's still got to be the focus on Indy, and we'll kind of see how schedules line out, how important those races are. To run during the month of May.
Are we talking about doing the triple?
I think so.
I don't know what that is.
The Indy triple,
the Hoosier 100,
the Hoosier 100,
Indy,
and then Kokomo.
There is one night that's it's called the 4 Crown, and that'll be a 4 program night.
Yeah, really? 4 programs in one night.
4 different cars, 4 programs one night. So
how's your health?
Week,
let's talk about that. How are you health wise? Like, are you gonna hold up? You ever?
We'll find out. But no, I mean, I think the way we've structured it, we kind of. There's been some, we'll definitely travel probably a little bit nicer than a lot of, sprint car and midget drivers. Way we've structured it. Not a lot of them guys will have their own driver to get them from track to track, and have a motorhome to then they'll sleep in going up and down the road every night. So, some of that's built in to make sure that, physically I'm ready to go for 200 nights, and obviously you don't want to. Sacrifice, being prepared and being ready to go. Yeah. You don't want to sacrifice performance or focus just to do something.
You can
cool.
have like a washer and dryer in the motorhome.
Well, depends what I
deliver.
But
I was having conversations about it today.
Yeah,
with some folks.
I think
cool.
The thing is, the traveling piece of this is not it's not new. You know, I spent 10 hours or 20 hours a week this last year going up and down the road in a Chevy Silverado. So, you know, it's not that hard. We know where to stop to wash our clothes. You know, it's but there's times where, you know, I think there's going to be a stretch.
And they find laundromats.
Yeah, right.
Their favorite laundromats.
Yeah, there's going to be stretches in July and August where we go 30 races in 31 days. So, I mean, there's going to be times you need it, but
you're going to be wearing stinky clothes.
Yeah, there's
like, let's just be honest. You're not doing the laundry that week.
That's right. So, but no, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's kind of a bucket list item. You know, like you said that you have your bucket list, and for some reason this was on mine.
That's awesome.
And
maybe we can kill ourselves together.
We'll have,
you know, fingers crossed.
Yeah, you know,
fingers crossed.
At least we won't be alone.
Exactly. Like, well, hopefully see you on the other side.
It'll be weird doing it holding hands.
Really is.
Yeah, well,
it's been 15 months.
Blink. We're fine. We're fine.
It's really 15, 16 months to pull it all together. To put this whole program together and make it work.
Yeah, you know,
that's
that
how
whole
long
saying,
it's taken.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Right.
Yeah, this all started in Vegas.
Did
so,
it really?
I mean,
that makes sense.
Somewhere
you did it wrong then.
In the world, it went worldwide.
It was supposed to stay there.
Yeah, when we did an announcement at Knoxville Nationals, and Bryan was asked about it, like where'd this whole idea come together? And it's kind of a funny story because he and I were at dinner in Las Vegas last November. Actually, that was when we first really got into it, figuring out how to make this happen. And he said it's really kind of ironic because neither one of us drink, so it wasn't the drunken idea. Like,
wait, hold on,
hold on. We were stone cold sober when this whole idea came
people
together.
That don't drink. We're 4 adult males that don't drink.
Wow.
Like, are we a cult? Are we officially a cult?
Now I know.
Kool-Aid
I love Kool-Aid. Cherry Kool-Aid.
Now I know how you got the job.
Oh, man. Hey, I don't know if we have time. We were talking about health and stuff like that. On a previous podcast, you started to talk about an injury, and you never really got into that.
Yeah, I've actually been, well, it's going to sound funny once I get into my injury. I don't know how much time we got left, but I'll be quick.
We got plenty of time.
Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate. I've actually only really been hurt a couple times, knock on wood, and but one of them was 17, and actually I actually broke my neck. I got 2 rods and a plate, and as silly as it sounds, probably the best thing that ever happened to me because it kind of slowed me down a little bit, refocused life for me a little bit. You know, at that time you're 16, 17 years old, as at that time with Chip Ganassi Racing, and had a driver development deal and was kind of on top of the world. Everything was coming easy, and bam, was probably as close to being paralyzed as you can get without it happening.
Was that Eldora?
No, that was in Wheatland, Missouri.
Okay.
And so it kind of refocused life a little bit for me, and it kind of makes you look at it a little bit differently. And along with that, I spent 6 months kind of studying the sport and studying racing. And
you read that a lot about a lot of sports where you get off the track or off the field, and it makes you just become a student.
Yeah, you're a student. You know, once figured out everything was going to be okay, I was going to be able to do it again. I spent the next 6 months at the racetrack studying and watching and learning. And
has you won a championship before that?
No.
So that really could.
At that point, we were actually. I think I was second in the midget championship at that point, but I was too young to run all the races, so I'd missed some races, made it back up, and we're down to the wire. But
interesting.
I'd been was a part of the car owner championship with Keith Coons that year, but obviously got hurt and didn't get to finish the year. So, but that and then the other ones, I just broke my hand one time. It was kind of
How'd you break it?
Bad. Just flipped and slapped something in the car.
Okay,
really sure.
I got to ask this: when there's a crash, like, what do?
Hold on. Brace yourself.
Because I've heard some people say you brace yourself, and other people say you're supposed to let your body stay loose.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on what you're driving. There's times, and really depends on kind of how you take off. I mean, some of your instincts to go like this
and
just
poop.
Get your hand
My
away.
instinct is just to poop. Like, immediately release everything. I might throw up.
And on that note,
and I just got the signal from JoJo. We are out of time. So, hey, thank you so much for listening. With me, I have David Byrd, Bryan Clawson, Jonathan Byrd, JoJo, moving the 1s and 2s over there. I'm Jon Colby, and I want to say for the first time, we're very sorry. We're very, very sorry. Thanks, guys. See you soon.